Unless you on that German Autobahn, you're doing 65 in a car that can go almost 200 miles an hour. In America, they actually have the thing on the they give you the European and the American mileage in the car. And America's speed limit is 70 miles an hour. That's the speed limit, 70 miles an hour across the United States, 70 miles an hour. And the car can do like up to 180, 90 miles an hour, but you bought the car, it's your car. You're never going to, that needle will never hit 150. But it's your car. This is society. I'll just give you an example. This is society. Go. Stop. Stop. No, go. Wait. Be aggressive. This is why people are confused. This is society. But that off-balanceness for the people works for the government. As long as the people are off balance, government's doing good. The minute the people get organized, government got a problem. They start bringing out the philosophers. And they start talking. Go deeper. Why did I say that? Why do I say it and put it this way? Because once you realize that society is a lie, that everything out there is made up, when you know you live in a society that's a lie, you really can do anything. See, if that was real out there, then you could really only do what it is offering. But because it's fake, you can do anything. See, you can't do everything in real and true. Real and truth locks you into what is real and true. But if you live in a fake society, you can be anything you want. If the society's fake, government fake, money fake, everything's fake. Really? Nature's about kill and take. We don't want to kill and take. So we step out of reality at that moment. Now we got paper tickets we call money. An illusion. But got the entire world in different tickets. The American ticket, the English ticket, the European ticket. We run around for these tickets for money. That's how they got us. And why do they have you with the money? Because they're pointing to the animal. I have to survive. I must reproduce. I gotta eat. Animal. Those that have learned to fast probably will have no problem with government. Most people have jobs that don't require that they fast. You're working hard every day. You gotta eat. But do you? See, I keep going back to the animal because this is the philosophical mind. You gotta check yourself every day and ask yourself, am I the animal? Or am I a being? Where am I? Who am I? Where do I come from? What about me is animal today? Who have I oppressed yesterday? Who are my enemies? Who do I want to kill? Who I can't stand? This is philosophy. This is philosophy. The inward journey that questions yourself. As Socrates said, the examined life. Examine your life, not everybody else's, yours. Are you the animal? Or are you the being? Let's talk about the being. What is the being? The being is when that animal was an animal on Monday and somehow became self-aware on Tuesday. That being. This is what is a threat to the illusion. The government is never a threat. Government is actually good. Government's never a threat. The government's made up of us. Really, if you want to know the truth of that one, the government is us. We make up the government. In truth. But let's go deeper with this being, because the being, once you start being your real being, the government's not the problem. It's the lie that's going to fight back. And the government is not going to be what comes after you when you know the truth. It's going to be your own people. It's going to be your family. People you work with. School, students, people you grew up with. The minute you change your consciousness, well, you think everybody else going to change theirs? No. They're going to look at you like you're crazy. And most of us have already experienced this. You're on the path of light. The first ones that don't understand are the people right next to you. Well, why are you saying that? Why are you doing that? Why you got to go there? Why you got to do why? You don't see the path I'm on? I don't care about that. I only care about myself. Animal. What is the being? I talked about this on the internet. Well, I didn't talk about it on the internet. Somebody recorded me and put it on the internet. We talked about the inner voice, the inner ear, and the inner eye. And I'll spare you the long, drawn-out explanation. But what I will say here, so we can move on, is the being, this being. You have to decide whether you want to live the lie or you want to live the truth. And I say this truthfully because 30 years myself, living as close to the truth as I can. It ain't easy. It ain't easy. It's not easy. And I don't say it's easy because it's hard. I say it's not easy for the average person. For the average person, the type of career that I've had would destroy the average person. That you couldn't deal with all that. But if you can, then you're not the average person. Let's go into the being. What does it mean to be super? Super only means above and beyond. Nothing else. Remember that. We hype it up sometimes, but what does it mean to be super? Above and beyond. If the whole society is abusing their children and you're taking care of yours, you're super. If the whole society is made of thieves and you are practicing charity, you're super. See, when we look on TV, they got our minds looking at Superman. Super means that I can lift buildings and, oh, no. Super means can you lift your child? That's what super means. In a society where children are being neglected every day. I just came through immigration in Dover. We came from Calais. Came from Calais. Came over to Dover. Sitting there waiting. Matter of fact, no, it was on the French side. I'm sitting there in immigration, getting ready to go through. I glance over to the side, I see a poster with women with a hand over her mouth. They talking about slavery. I look at the poster, I'm like, yo. And I heard about this, of course. It's actually 50 million slaves in the world today. Documented slaves. That you can actually say he's a slave. I saw it in the wall, it was advertising. Damn, look at that. It was advertising slavery. No, it was a flyer warning against slavery, saying that if you see a person that looks like, a slave, and they had actual, this is what a slave looks like. An unaccompanied minor, a minor with adults that are not the parents. They talked about sex trafficking. They talked about Oh, they even talked about marijuana making. They said slaves are being used to cultivate marijuana. I'm having this conversation with the border. Yeah, the border. The woman asked me, why do you want to know this? I was like, well, I researched this stuff. She ran to the back, got me a whole bunch of information that I just got. I didn't even read it yet. I just got a bunch of information from immigration. They trying to stamp out slavery. Dude, it's 2019. It's we get ready to see 2020, we still talking about slavery. See, let me talk about the being real quick. Okay? Slavery in 2019. See, it don't matter about technology. Are you civilized? What kind of person can hear another person crying out for help and ignore it? Even if you can't do anything, to not empathize with the hurting person, what kind of being are you? This is the key. Because we look at slavery and we say, oh, slavery was brutal. Oh, slavery was this, slavery was that. Yeah, slavery was all of that, but it wasn't slavery. It was more just bad manners and evil and child abuse. And if we put these other terms on it, we'll see it more clearly. We'll see it more clearly. We say slavery. That's light compared to what really went down. Even right here in Britain. Y'all know that. Well, you should know your history. Do I have to go over to Liverpool? Oh no, the slave trade huge here in Bristol. There in Bristol. Huge. But what kind of people are doing this to other people? Not the slave owner. No, put that to the side. Let's talk about your character. Let's talk about your character. How can you chain a child? Rip a child from his mother's arms and sell him off. Forget the crime of that. Look at the character. You see, when we start talking about character, you start talking about truth. And when you get to the truth, you're free. But if you keep talking slavery, or here's another term, racism. Philosophically, there's no such thing as race. So there's no such thing as racism. You have ignorance, bad manners, evil. Why don't we just call it what it is? Racism. No, now we can take it into the university and discuss it over tea and nothing. Yeah, happens after that. Oh, it's racism. Oh, yeah, we can write books all day on it. Have TV shows and that. Well, yeah, it's racism. No, it's not. It's not racism. It's bad manners. Your mother didn't raise you right. You don't know how to act. Antisocial. Psychopath. That's the word. Psychopath. Not slave owner. So I mention this to say, what kind of person are you? Philosophically, can you walk past injustice? Can you walk past injustice? And not that you gotta put yourself in harm's way, but what do you feel when you see injustice? What do you do? Does anything in your body bend? Does any hand or anything? Well, for a lot of people, no. No. In the United States right now, we have a president that is trying to build a wall to keep Mexicans out of the country. Do you know how ridiculous what I just said sounds? Like, in human, this is ridiculous. But half the country's will. Suddenly that ridiculous ain't so ridiculous. America got what, 300 million people? American population, 300 million? 150 million of them? I'm like, yeah, go Trump, let's do this. Build that wall. What kind of people are these? What kind of people? I don't care if you're a doctor, a lawyer, you rich, or you poor, or you a gangster, or you a lawyer. I don't care what your occupation is. Who are you? And so I put the emphasis on this because philosophy is not about reading books and quoting other philosophers. It's about the inward journey that questions your principles. Do you stand right with you? Not everybody can say that. Not everybody can say that. I'm right with me. Not everybody can say that. But this is the quest of the philosopher, not $1 million. Sure, we all want money. But at the end of the day, peace. Let's get the priority shit right here. Peace. We've already seen the millionaire put the gun to his head. We already seen all that. Matter of fact, just an example. Robin Williams. What a tragic situation that was. Robin Williams, a comedian. The legendary comedian. Legendary. He made everybody laugh. Robin Williams. Classic movies. Mork and Mindy. He's the man. Not anymore. How can a comedian be sad? And it can happen. Of course, I'm not questioning that part of it. I'm questioning the philosophy on it. The virtue, the principle. You are the one that makes us all laugh. You're the one lifting our spirit, but then you go home at night and, what, I'm going to kill yourself. The philosopher has to deal with this kind of mind, this kind of stop-go, stand sick, funny sad, gangster coward. That was just my own little thing. But anyway, the philosopher has to think on that level. And why am I telling you this? Because I'm opening you up to the being. The being is outside of words. I really can't explain the being, but I can give you these examples of what it's like to see like one. That's an illusion. You can do anything you want then, but it's going to tell you you can. Example, KRS-One. I'm a prime example of that being an illusion. I realized it back in the 80s. That's an illusion. What's the illusion? Well, in this world, I can be anything I want if I say I am. Because it's all a lie. What do you think the doctors you go to are real doctors? You think the hospital's a real hospital? Think about the people who built the hospital. They laughing. Of course they're not laughing. They're architects. They built the hospital. They know what it is. But imagine the people who built McDonald's. Imagine the people who serve you. They don't see these institutions the way you do. The one who owns the institution sees it a totally different way. So they own the institution. All of them out there telling you what their institutions are. They're all liars. They're all fake. Everybody's making it up. Every single thing you see in your society is only a family trying to make money. Everything, every item, from the street light, the signs. I'm just looking out this window right here, this door right here. The street light, the signs, the bill, everything. The copy, the materials. I can come in here. Everything. This life. This is a family. This is a family. This whole thing. This everything. It's all a family. The church table. This is somebody's family. This way. And when you realize that, everything here, this is somebody pushing their ideas on you. And you have to decide whether you need their ideas or not, or blah, 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 blah. But it's all fake. Why is it fake? Because this was at one time an appliance, like an iron. Grandmaster Flash touched it. Now it's an instrument. This is fake. If it was real, I couldn't turn it from an appliance to an instrument. It would always be an appliance, and that's what it would be. That's if it was the truth. If it was the truth, it would be unchanging. This is what it is, and that's that. But it's not the truth. It's fake. So I can do whatever I want with this. My grade school education says that it's a turntable. But what do I say? Or what did Grandmaster Flash say? He said, I can put my hand on this, spring it back and forth. I can make sounds and music with an appliance. With an appliance. Now remember, an appliance is like a refrigerator, a stove, like I said, an iron, a phone. Those are appliances. Those are not instruments. But because everything's fake, meaning everything is also something else. Whatever you're calling a thing is not what it is. You're calling it that. It's fake. Anything that I can rename is not real to begin with. So we renamed this. This was a turntable, it was an appliance. We said, no, this is an instrument like a guitar and a horn. Nothing changed. This didn't change. We did. This is what the being looks like. This is the seeing of the being. To look past your grade school education, look past numbers, letters, symbols, shapes. Look past that and only see this as like a clump of clay, like only see this as basic material to work with. Like if you got fabric and you want to make a suit, so you get a roll of fabric. It's the basic material, a roll of fabric. Try to see everything in your eyesight as a roll of fabric that you can do anything with. Anything. First you got to get past what they told you the lie was. I'm not mad at the lie. I like the lie. But now that I know the lie, I'm going to manipulate the lie to my advantage. I don't need to change society. I need to change how I live in society. I don't need to go after no governments. I'm above them. Matter of fact, I can reinterpret them in my mind. See, here's the being right here. Here's the being. Whatever you perceive is what it's going to be. Whatever you perceive, this is what it is. This is not a turntable. This is a gabaga. That's right. A gabaga. That's what that is. Gabaga. Now, if I say that enough times, if I keep saying gabaga, we're going to open the Oxford English Dictionary. 5 years, 10 years, they do their books every 5, 10 years. And we're going to see gabaga in the dictionary. That's how crazy the term hip-hop was. Like today we say hip-hop, like it's nothing. But in the 70s, when we first started saying it was gabaga. It was gabaga. What are y'all doing? MCing. That was what? We're doing gabaga. And that's how America took it. They took it just like that. But this is the point to the being. What's the point to the being? The being is reality. This world, this material world does not tell me what it is. I'm telling it what it is. And it's going to respond to my perception of it because I'm real. Real. What is reality? The domain of a real thing. That's it. What is reality? The domain of anything that's real. Anything that's real gives off a reality. Once you become real to yourself, you real with you operating from the essence of you before your name. before your gender, before your occupation, your religion, before all of that, the being. When you get right with the being, you are real. And therefore, anything you touch is going to respond to your perception of it. This is what hip-hop is. Hip meaning to know. Hip, I'm hip. Hip and cats to what's going on. Hip means to know. Hop, moving, springing upward. That's all hip-hop is, it's nothing else. Hip, knowledge, knowing, consciousness, awareness. Hip means to know. Hop, springing forward. Consciousness springing up. That's hip-hop. When you're hip to your hop, you know why you move. The environment doesn't move you, you move it. And that is what we were thinking about in the Bronx around 1973. They took this part out of hip hop because they just wanted us to rap. We like your rap. Rap, 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 rap. But nobody asked us why we was rapping. We got tons of books on how. Here's how they did it. Here's what they said. Yeah, but nobody ever said, well, why are you doing it? What causes you to rap? Why are you breaking? Why are you on the trains like this right in your name? Why? That's the philosophical question of that day. Well, here's why. Why would we? What causes you to rap? We had a worldview. We had a worldview. We're 7, 8, 9 years old thinking about the world. By the way, Bruce Lee was a big influence on hip hop in the 70s, in the Bronx in particular. I just got to shout him out real quick. Because without Bruce Lee, I don't know where we would have got our courage from, our spiritual insight. You just got to remember, if you got time and you really want to get into your hip hop scholarship, watch Bruce Lee's movies, especially Enter the Dragon. 1973, Enter the Dragon, the dopest movie ever. That right there, go watch that, and you'll see what caused hip hop. You'll see it. We watched that, and we saw Jim Kelly beating the cops in 73. This is one of, imagine, just slow down for 1 minute on that. Because I bring up why I mentioned Bruce Lee. But just for 1 minute, imagine young kids being harassed by the police. And then here comes this man, here comes a Chinese man with a black dude with him, beating the cops. Oh, you can believe Enter the Dragon. Yo, Bruce Lee is the man. We grew up with this dude. This is Wu-Tang. What am I talking about? Right. This is Wu-Tang's whole deal, okay? Really, their thing is Run Run Shaw. The Run Run Shaw movies that came out later after Bruce Lee, influenced by Bruce Lee. Director Run Run Shaw came out with Five Fingers is Death. No, that was Bruce Lee too. Five Deadly Venoms, the Wu-Tang Clan. These are all Asian movies. But I mentioned that to show also not only the influence of martial arts, Asian culture in that way on hip hop, but the morality, the character is what I want to bring out. The character of the being. The character. This is a time where young people are rethinking the world. This is what's not in the history books, and if there's any writers or historians here, you may want to take a look at this. The period between 1971 and 1991. That whole period, 71 to 91, 20 years right there. That period was the greatest intellectual explosion that could have ever happened, probably in the world. Because when I say hip hop, this thing was happening all over the world at once. As a traditional, just surface look at hip hop, we started in the Bronx, 1973, Cool Herc. That's the traditional, that's the surface understanding. Remember, we was reduced to entertainment because of the racist nature of the United States during the 70s, 80s, and 90s. The people who created rap, breaking, graffiti writing, these were people who would have done well in medicine, architecture, the computers, all of that. But because he was black or Latino, he couldn't get nothing in the United States. So these same minds just applied it to this and said, okay, we'll take this and turn it into this. But you gotta ask, why did Grandmaster Flash do that? How and why? Why did he do that? Well, he was poor, couldn't get a job. He was a certified electrician, finished school, everything, but couldn't get work. Why? Because he's black. This is how hip hop starts. The culture part of it, being rejected, being left out for no reason, injustice. This is how the culture begins to bubble. So I say this to say that the being, sometimes the being has to be challenged in order for you to even see it. If you're in a comfort zone, you're never gonna get to your higher self. Let me say that right at the top. I don't want anybody to go through any hardship. That's just my own deal. I wouldn't wish hardship on anybody. But in order to see life, you gotta also see death. And this is the other part to the philosophy that you gotta really understand. We have one foot in consciousness and the other foot in unconsciousness. This is the being part. The being is unconscious. The immortal you is unconscious. It's not conscious. It's not this. It's not me talking like this. It's the intent of me talking. That my intention here is what's also talking. And uniting with your intent. And we're creating an aura of our intention. That's a collective consciousness. I mention this because this is how you communicate with the being. I asked each and every one of you to come here today. And I mean that. When my son first told me, he said, yo, we're going to chip shop. We're going to run over here and do this. And I love running in this little spot right here. This is real philosophy right here, because this is how it's done. This little room like this, we in here talking. This is what it is. Nice little bar on the side. This is what it was all about. But when he mentioned it, I said, man, this is good. The people who are going to come to this are the highest minds in this area. And I don't say that just, for some grandizement. Real talk. For real. Everybody saw the flyer. Everybody knew what was going down. Some chose and said, nah, I ain't going. Others said, I'd love to go, but I can't. Others were on their way here. Got sidetracked. Wake up to the universe right now. This is where the being starts. You're not here because you're not here because you brought you here. The unconscious needed you to hear something that I'm saying here today. And you're getting it. You're getting it. It's not these words. It's the experience you're going to have after you leave here. This is the unconscious. This is the being. Don't ask how it's going to happen. Ask why. Why it should. People say, I need more money in my life. I need more money in my life. I wish I had more money. Don't ask for money. Ask for what money can buy. This is the being. The being wants you to have everything you need. Everything. The universe is magnificent. There's no limit to what that can do. But we limit it by calling it a turntable. So it only the turntable to us. The minute we change our perception of it, it changes what it can do for us. You've got to see this. So you change your perception on the universe and watch how it responds to you. This is the being. There's really no word for it. There's really no words for it. It's an experience. You have to just go through it, and then you'll say, this is what KRS was talking about the other day. It's not about the money. It's like, I do need the money, but it's better to say, no, I just want a new mixer. The universe doesn't understand I need money. Unless you say, I want to paste money on the wall. And you say, so you would talk to the universe in that way and say, I have a really good idea. It would be nice if there was money on this wall. That's the language, It would be nice, if there was money on the wall. And then all of a sudden, you're going to see somebody come in here and do stupid stuff according to your perception. You'll see it. Somebody will come here and put $1 on the wall, just joking. There's only $1 on the wall, And you'd be like, I just said that. You keep doing that over time. Over time, you keep seeing. Guide your perception. Don't just let it be anything. Guide it. Say, it would be nice if I had a brand new house. Why? Because I deserve it. I deserve a brand new house. And it would be nice if I had this house so that I could. Universe starts moving fast. But can you stand it? Here's the other side to it. Be specific with the being. That's why your intent has to be right. This is not for little kids. This is not for weekend philosophers. This is your being has to be right, because that's what the universe is going to respond to. Not your words. Your intent is what is going to get the result. It's always best to put somebody else in your visualization, in your prayers. When you talk to the universe, it's always best to say, not for me, for them. Come through me, not to me. The animal wants to give me, take. The God being, the universe is working through us. Not for me, for them. And if something's coming through you, you can always siphon off for yourself. If things are coming through you, things are coming to you, you're always in line with everybody else. And the things that come to you can be taken away from you. The things that come through you match your being. And this is it. This is it. This has been it. This has been it from the beginning of time, your intent. So let me conclude in this way. I talked about wanting to talk about your empowerment. Your empowerment. Power. Why is that important? Because that world out there has power, and it's an illusion, and it's trying to tell you that it's a turntable. It's trying to tell you that that's a lie. It's trying to tell you that this is my album. I mean, think about this. Think about this. Think about how the truth works. This is not my album. Single. It's a single. That's right. That's right. That's But to be able to see just like that, this is the difference. Come on, they stop, right? This is the difference between the philosophical mind and, of course, the average mind. Not looking down on anybody's mind, but the philosophical mind is its own thing, and it has its own advantages, and like I pointed out at the beginning, it has its downsides. Philosophers cause wars. Philosophers misguide whole societies. Philosophers get into all type of weird stuff and can't explain themselves to their own people. Philosophers do all of that as well, but The true essence of philosophy in that way has more to do with the strengthening of your being. How real can you become? Because the realer you become, the more you create reality. You create your reality. You ask yourself, how does he become KRS-One? He didn't even finish high school. How is he talking at Harvard and Yale and Oxford and how did he do that? Not even the why on this one. This one you gotta ask the how. How? Because that answers this question. The question is, I'm just like you. Tis no different. I mean, literally. How did I become KRS-One? I thought about it. That's a turntable, that's a light, single. When I did this record, MCs Act Like They Don't Know, the guy that produced this record had only one album out. And the record company said, we don't want to pay no money for this dude. He has one album out. Why do you want him to produce your whole album? They had all these other producers. I was a producer myself. My brother was doing music. Why do you want to work with this chinchy little group called Gangstar? They had one little album out. And I said, but they got this dude called Premier. And he's crazy. Jive Records at the time, no, sorry, no. We're not spending no money on that, no, sorry. So we took our own money and we went in the studio. And I remember when we first got started, this was one of the first songs we came out with, was this record here, MCs Act Like They Don't Know. Primo did the drums, he did everything, beats, everything. But while he was doing the drums, we was in there just for DJs, just on another level. At the end of this record, at the end of MCs Act Like They Don't Know, we left, we dropped out all the other instrumentation except for the drums, right, at the end. That was specifically for samples, cutting breaks, all of that type of stuff. At the end, the very, very end, it's one of the only times you get Primo, you get his beats with no bass, no nothing. It's just the boom, 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 boom. It's just like that. I mention that because in the studio, when Jive Records said no, we're not paying for no group called Gangstar with this MC called Google. We're not paying for that. You have to do that on your own. I said, fine. Why? Because by the time I was doing this album here, it's like 93. I knew, excuse me. By the time I was doing this single, I had already knew what it is I'm telling you right now. They didn't know. And this is the last one, this is what I want to say to you. Is that, again, when you know the truth, all you hear is lies. I'm going to Jive Records, I need to work with this group. No. We do the whole album, Return of the Boom Bap, the album. We do the whole album. Jive Records, we put the album on the desk, it was like, this is it. They listen to it, mouth drop, jaw drop. Everybody's like, yo, who did this? Yo, who? Oh, man. I said, yo, remember that dude? That I said, and right there. Now, I say this to you because there's a karma on my life that I always mention. I didn't even recognize it until this time. And the time is that I always meet people when they're at the crossroads of their life. I don't know what this is, but I always seem to meet people when they have a decision to make. And it's not just a decision. Wow. It's like a decision to go right or left. It's like, this is the decision. And then you somehow bump into KRS-One. Boom. And this was one of those moments where we could have went right or left. And we said, no, we're gonna go with the right. This feels right. We're gonna do this on our own, and this is the point. It feels right. Not I know it's right, or it's gonna be right. This feels right. Like geese flying in a V formation in the sky. They feel right. That's mathematics. That's aerodynamics and mathematics right there. The V shape of geese flying south for the winter. That's aerodynamics and mathematics. They don't even know A. It feels good for them to fly like that. And when you do things that feel good, you match up with history, mathematics, and science. The feeling being gives off mathematics and science. Those who have stopped feeling rely on mathematics and science. Remember what mathematics and science actually is, because I'm talking about the being. Mathematics and science is not the real thing. I love math, I love science. In fact, science is one of the first principles of philosophy. Science, ethics, and metaphysics. Love science. But science is not the thing itself. Neither is mathematics. Science and mathematics are interpreters of reality. They are not reality. So when we discuss reality, science, math, letters, goodbye. What we need to know is, how does it feel? How does it feel? It felt good for Grandmaster Flash to cut on the turntable. He had no idea. Well, that's not true. You let Flash tell it. He was like, yeah, I knew exactly what I was doing. I jumped on it and that was that. Changed the whole game. But when we were young kids, the point is that most of what we were doing was feeling. And it felt good. And that feeling was the science and was the mathematics. Not science and math. The feeling gave off a science and threw off a mathematics that we were then able to look at and glean from. So understand what the real being is. The real being is the real thing. The real thing. Oh, this Chip Shop. Okay. But it looked like a gangster. You made that look like a gangster logo. It looks like a gangster logo. But see the perception. You see, talk of gangster, and all of a sudden, my eyes see it, and this is the point. This is the point. And this is the point. I'll conclude on this. This is the point. Everything is also something else to the being, to the one without a name, to the one without a gender, without a title. Before you are a brother, a son, before all of that. That being, that is the real thing. The real thing, not the interpretation of it, the real thing, the real being you. The closer you get to that, the more your perception will change everything you see or touch, whatever. If you get closer to it and you'll say, I don't feel it like this, I feel it like this. And it'll be some crazy, something people never even seen or could even think of. And it's not about thinking, that's why they didn't think of it. It's about feeling. So this is what I want to impart to you today for your empowerment. Your material world. Oh, I'll take questions. Thank you. I'll take that. Your material world, this material world, operates according to your perception of it. But you can't change the material world unless you are a real being. How do you become a real being? The gateway is in feeling. Feel the being. How do you feel the being? First, acknowledge that there is one. And this is where I go into the eyes that see without, the sight that sees without eyes, the inner you, the one who reads books to themselves. You home and you open a book and you read the book and you hear yourself reading the book. that person, that being in you, that being is immortal. That being never dies. That being is in a place right now. Like I always say, what is the sight that can see your future? These two eyes don't see your future. So what is that sight that can see the future? What is the ear that can hear you read to yourself? That being that is you is in a place. It's also in a dimension. And that dimension is on the other side of all of this. All of this. The same ratio that your inner voice has to your body. Let's say, if you can measure, you say, just talk to yourself real quick and say, how close is that voice to my flesh? Where is that voice? Where is it? You say, the ratio between that voice and my flesh. The same ratio of that voice to your flesh is the same ratio of that voice's environment and this environment. So when you speak with your inner voice, you're speaking behind matter. You're speaking behind this. You get to manipulate this from the other side. You already have it within you. You're already speaking without your mouth, seeing without your eyes, hearing without your ears. You just got to start moving around in that environment. That environment is behind this one. And this is how hip hop really began. Thanks for listening.